Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today with our chef Glen from the Creative Restaurant Group. He's been with Creative Restaurant Group now for just over 16 years. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the group, I have a surprise for you. These folks are amazing. They have restaurants like Posto, which we're going to talk about today. We have Bonterra and we have Free House. They're very well known in the market, especially here in YYC. And today we're meeting with the chef to talk to him about pizzas and how to make pizzas. They have extraordinary pizzas at Posto. So we're really, really looking forward to getting some expert tips. Welcome, Glen.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing.
I see you have the pizza oven going there behind you. It's pretty warm here in Calgary today. Is it hot in that kitchen?
Okay, over here. The other side's a little hotter, but we're just happy to be open right now.
Very excited. Congratulations on that. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the pizza dough first of all, if you don't mind. At Posto, it's a special and unique kind of dough, isn't it, that you developed, from what I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know if it's special. It's a little bit unique. We made it a little hard on ourselves. So we like to have a 3 or 4 day old dough. So we're developing a lot of flavor, and we want to have just a little bit of a heel on it. So just a little bit bigger than sometimes you see at most places, with a pretty big crumb and a good crunch on the outside. So what it is, it's a high hydration. There's a lot of water in our dough. So it's pretty tricky for maybe at home, but that's why we love to do our pizza kits. So you can just pick it up here and take it home. But it is a pretty good dough.
Okay, and I could attest to that. And on the pizza kit side of things, we did a Boom Team event a couple of weeks ago. And on this Boom Team event, we got the do-it-yourself pizza kits. And so we each got to select the kind of toppings we wanted, et cetera. But when the kit arrived, not only did we have all the beautiful fresh toppings, but we had this mysterious ball of dough that we had to sort out what to do with. So why don't you talk to us about that? Run through the steps on how we can, when we bring home one of these do-it-yourself pizzas kits, how we can successfully have a great pizza, maybe not quite as good as it is at Posto, because you guys have the oven and everything else, but something that's really amazing. Show us what to do.
You know what? Really, it's about practice, I bet, too, long term. And watch, I probably won't be as good as the old days. We don't do it so much anymore. We have lots of people. So really, you're looking for the right temperature of the dough, where it's quite soft. So it becomes a little bit hard. Like it's quite soft. It's quite hard to use, but that makes it really for the best pizza. So if you can see, what I like to do is I like to put it in a bowl of flour, and I like to keep as much of that rise that we had with it. So we're just sort of docking it a little bit with our fingers, as well as stretching it and pushing it out. So I like to use a little bit bigger bowl than some of the team likes to use, so you have the space to push it, and you can see it's already quite a bit bigger. And I like to keep as much air. So we hand stretch everything. We don't roll anything, and we never would put it through an automated machine. And then we like to use gravity do it. If you can see, a lot of the gravity is going to pull it down. So we're really almost double the size at least right now without really lifting it out of the bowl too much, which I think is a lot of help.
So I tried to do that, and I ended up with a little hole in my pizza.
Get a big long rectangle sometimes.
Yeah.
Stuff, and that's just practice, and that's the temperature too. Really, if you're nervous of it and you leave it cold, the colder it is, the easier it is to handle, the harder it is to cook in the oven.
Okay.
That makes sense for the pizza, especially I would say at a home oven too. So now really we're just not using fingertips, we're using the knuckles of our hands and stretching really on the outside of the pizza as opposed to the inside of the pizza. Because really what we try to achieve the most is, as opposed to some styles where it falls and you pull it over, we like it, our goal, and it doesn't happen all the time, our goal is to trying to get it to stand out as straight as possible. So we're trying to get a good crust on the bottom and quite a bit of, I wouldn't say a lot, but quite a bit of dough in the middle still. Right. So we're pretty big, and I haven't really put too much effort into it already.
I'm telling you, it didn't look like that when I was doing it.
Well, I think we're looking for like about 10 to 11 inches is what we're almost aiming for, because there's some shrink. We like to use the pizza peels. You can definitely build it right onto a pan. If you're building it onto a pan, if you're just landing it on the pan, a little bit bigger than what it is, and then pulling it into the pan. We like to drop it on the peel more than anything. We do into our oven as well, and we're going to do it today into the convection oven as well, because most people have that at home. We're trying to do as little as possible. I got too much on this one, but we're trying to do as little as possible, because if we take a little bit of time today, it might stick a little bit. We're trying to do as little as possible. So then we're just trying to stretch it out now and make sure that it's the proper size of the pizza. And then we just want to give it a little shake, so if there's any stress left there. And then, you know, when we're looking for toppings, every pizza has its own set of rules. Today we're going to build probably the biggest seller at most places that we do. And as you can tell, I love gluten and I love meat, but it's the meat lovers. So it's the number 4 at Posto. It's got 4 different types of meats on it, and we build it in a certain way so that some things happen. We're putting our sauce on. I like a little bit of sauce, not a lot of sauce. Generally, it's about 2.5 ounces of sauce per pizza. We're trying to leave a little bit of heel so that the heel springs and has some of that jump to it. If you go all the way to the end, you're going to not get a lot of jump in there. The sauce will hold it down. In a hot oven, it'll start to caramelize and probably burn pretty quickly as well. In a home oven, it should be okay if you like it to the edge. You know, there's no real, everyone, you know, makes a pizza. It's like all food. Everyone has their favorite. Hopefully most of them is ours. So a nice little spread of sauce. And then we're going to go a type of salami, which I always like salami underneath. And we just kind of rip and tear it and put it wherever. There's no really rhyme or reason. I guess each piece should have a good sampling of it, but we kind of throw it everywhere. We're going to do some spicy calabrese as well, which we put on there. I like this one underneath. Both of them are sliced a little bit thinner so they don't pull off a lot of the toppings we're hoping. We like to put the cheese on next for this one. So I generally like 2 salamis under the salamis underneath. Really the only rule to that is like for a pepperoni pizza, I like them on top, because with pepperoni pizza, you want to see a little bit of that caramelization around, and you know, when the pepperoni starts to cup up, we really want to see that. So we leave pepperoni on top. Pepperoni's not on this one, but when we make our pepperoni pizza, cheese just around everywhere. I think we leave a little less cheese in most places. We do a blend of 4 different cheeses here as well. It's not just mozzarella. It's full fat mozzarella, Asiago, Fontina, and provolone. And it's I guess a secret of the blend. And then we
not
like.
A secret anymore.
Sorry?
It's not a secret anymore. Thank you.
Never get the ratio right though.
Oh, you're probably right.
Sausage, and this sausage is raw. We make it in house, and why we like it raw and in little pieces is in a hot oven. The outside's going to caramelize and crisp up and hopefully burn a little bit, caramelize a little bit, and the inside is going to cook all the way through, and it's going to release all its flavor onto there. We do make a pretty lean sausage for this, but we want all that flavor to release. And then we're going to put some smoked pancetta on top as well. And the pancetta is raw as well. There's not a lot of toppings that we use that are cooked except for the cured already meats. You know, pineapple's raw, and yes, I love a Hawaiian pizza. Everyone, the massive controversy about that, but I am a sucker for a good Hawaiian pizza. So that's all usually raw when we do that as well. We cook a spinach a little bit when we put it on, but mushrooms even I like on top so they caramelize and that they're raw. And then that's it. That's this pizza for this one. So hopefully we haven't taken too long and it's not going to stick for us, and we're going to be able to drop it.
Okay.
So we have changed our style a little bit today for the home cooking. We're going to be cooking it in our convection oven. So that one's right behind me here. I highly recommend a pizza stone. So if you can get a pizza stone in your oven for as long as possible, not open the door like this, and keep as much heat as possible. And if you're having a party, really if you have 2 stones, or if you have those new great ones that go on top of a barbecue, they reheat really fast. But I cooked a couple last week in this oven, back to back. The second one wasn't as good. So you need to take a little time in between or rest or have another glass of wine or another great beer while you get together and make that another pizza if it's in a big group once everything opens up again, let's say, or there's a couple of pizza. But even the barbecue ones outdoors are a little bit hotter, so it's good. At home, I like to cheat. So we had just simple cornmeal that's going to help this dough crisp up a little bit, and probably any dough at home crisp up a little bit as well too. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of cornmeal on top of the rock here. Ideally, you can mix it in with the flour here and put it on here, but we have that, and then we just want to loosen it up. So hopefully we haven't waited too long. We usually move a lot quicker, but it's still sliding pretty good because I put a lot on. And then we're just going to drop it right onto the stone. That's it.
That's great. Yes, I actually used cornmeal when I made it, and it did work really great. It didn't stick at all. So but I don't have a pizza stone. We just did it on a tray.
Most ovens are a little bit cooler than some of the stuff we use here. So that'll help with it'll pick up some of the cornmeal and it'll give it a little texture that your mouth's going to read as crunchiness as well.
And so how long is it going to sit in there for now?
This one here in this oven takes about 8.5 minutes. We usually cook our pizzas for about 4 minutes if we can. But at a home oven, I'm going to guess anywhere from 7 to 11 or 12 minutes, depending on how hot you can get that oven.
Okay.
We have this set on the hottest setting, so it is industrial, but it's 500 degrees, and the rock was in for at least an hour. The stone was in for at least an hour and a half before.
And do you move it?
We will turn it probably because although it's a convection and has a hot spot, and I'm sure most do at home too. So you just want to see if you're getting used to building them, where that hot spot is. So we'll probably turn it right at about the 4-minute mark and have a look at it. And hopefully not pop any of the bubbles or have anything or lose anything of it. So in a couple of minutes, we'll look for a jump and see what's going on. So hopefully that helped quite a bit,
So tell me, we had a couple questions, if you don't mind, that we kind of polled our little team afterwards and said, what were the questions? And you answered some of them off the top, which was around how to actually, get the dough so that it was the size of looking like a pizza. We all had a great laugh trying to do that, but it was a team building event. It was very successful. So that part was fine. And you've given us some great tips with the bowl. I love that. But when it comes to the toppings, you did talk to me a little bit more about the order, because I think I got the margarita pizza. So I think I did the beautiful sauce, and so not as complex, I think, as the meat ones and the mushroom ones, etc. But tell me, why is the order of what you put the toppings on so important?
I think you just want each topping to be finished and properly cooked, or where it's supposed to be at the end. So what we've decided on those orders is sort of our order. So, really, if you like really cooked mushrooms, you could probably cook your mushrooms before. I just like when they're raw and they get cooked in the oven and they caramelize a little bit. Margarita is my favorite pizza as well too. That one's really nice and easy. We don't add anything to ours. It's tomato sauce, fresh mozzarella. In the old days, I used to like it cooked, the mozzarella cooked, the fior di latte cooked less, but now we put it on and cook it the whole time. And we are actually a little bit different. We add a lot more basil than most true Italian places do. So I like a lot of basil in ours. We also finish ours with grana padano, Parmesan cheese, like we do all our pizzas as well. So I like goat cheese on top, like some of the toppings in front of us. Onions I like underneath, unless they're raw. We cook our onions that was one of the exceptions, I guess. We cook ours, caramelize, and put it onto the sauce. If some of the onions are raw, I like them on top to get some of the burnt ones. We put peppers on top, things like that. It's all, we could take our hits as well, but at home, if anyone wants to try something, that's the key to doing it, really, for sure. Because if we go back to my love for Hawaiian pizza, I actually like it made with speck, and we put the speck on after the pizza's cooked on top, so you get the nice speck is a smoked prosciutto in theory, or prosciutto we put on afterwards raw. We don't even cook that. Some people like it cooked, but I don't think it's good. If we're going to that, we like ham, let's say, a traditional Hawaiian pizza. I like the ham underneath the cheese. So there's so many ways to roll them, I would guess.
And do you encourage people to kind of make it their own? Do you encourage people to make it their own?
Well, on or off the record, we want everybody here, I guess. So no, we don't.
No, I mean to make the pizza on their own, like to make it, to feel free to experiment
please do. And if we're looking at some of the kits and someone has a favorite ingredient that we can locate and we have enough time, we'd love to add it to it. We've done a couple of the virtual events but not too many just yet. So, or throughout it all, there wasn't a lot of calls for us, which I don't think in Calgary there's so many. But I encourage lots of experimentation, and of course, that's the key to food, really.
So are you going to, oh, he's going to check it now. Yeah, we're going to check it. You can tell me about leoparding. I understand something called leoparding adds flavor, but I don't even know what that is. You'll have to tell us all about it.
Well, we'll look at it now. So we've got some, I don't think in our home oven we might not get the leoparding that we're looking for. Okay. So really, if you're looking at a pizza dough, and this one tends to not, leopard tends to brown a little bit more, but we are looking for lots of color and leoparding. So we're starting to get some spotting here. Really, when they're talking about that, they're talking about in a 1,000-degree oven, which our gas oven doesn't go to 1,000. We cook at about 590 to 610. So we try to get the leoparding, but we always don't get it. But what we're looking for is we're looking for that crunch and that bubble that we were talking about earlier on is what we sort of like, and we're looking for the color. So you can see that there's a little bit starting, but we might not get a lot in this oven per se. But okay, that's just adding flavor. That's adding a lot of flavor anytime you're adding that color and flavor. To be truthful, sometimes we get complaints about we cook our pizzas too far, but I don't think we ever do. So with the oven open, I'm just going to get in. We can see at the front was a little bit darker, so we'll just spin this to the front because it's a little bit lighter.
Thank you. So one of the other things I noticed when we put in our do-it-yourself kit orders, and when I've been in your restaurant, which I hope to go back again very soon, is that you have different I don't want to call them toppings, but house-made sides. So that could be oils and honeys, etc., that you can put on the pizza. Can you tell us a little bit about those? Because they're delicious.
Well, I guess that everyone loves the chili oil, so we make a chili oil. We also make a rosemary oil, which I like, which was just sort of based on like a lot of stuff that we used to put on basic meats or grilled meats and stuff like that. We make a truffle honey as well. I think we're making a hot honey now as well. So we have 2 honeys and 2 oils. And one of my favorite things to do, not on a margarita per se, but on a meat lovers, is add an egg as well too. So we always like to add an egg on as well, about maybe 40% of the cooking through. So we pulled that one out halfway in. We just like to crack an egg on top of it sometimes too. So that's a little bit fun.
That's fantastic.
Of course, our sauce, I think we encourage selling our sauce as well, and our cheese blend as well. But now everyone's going to make it because we let the secret out of the bag. But you can pick up our cheese as well too if you didn't want the whole kit. But we encourage the whole kit. It's a fun night.
It is such a fun night. You know, we had such a great time. There were so many giggles and laughs, and then you're sitting down at the end of it with a delicious pizza. We were all on Zoom, so we were all in our own little space, and
it's actually quite spectacular on a barbecue as well without the attachment on the grill. And the key to that is sort of changing a little bit of how you think about it. Is you grill it on one side with a little bit of oil on it, and then when you flip it, then you top it, and then you close it. And this dough especially makes a beautiful grilled pizza. Beautiful, beautiful grilled pizza. With the weather changing, I don't think anyone would want to be in front of a barbecue today. I believe it's 33 degrees out, but outside on the back patio with a couple, I don't know, beverage of your choice. I think mine would be a cold beer, but it's really, really nice grill. Especially
I didn't know that.
So the kit works good if no one's really thinking about the next few months are hot. It's still pretty good to do outside.
Well, and nobody wants to turn on their oven in the hot days either, right? So it is maybe an option, especially if you have a barbecue in the shade. My husband will be quite happy to hear about the whole barbecue idea. Thank you. It looks like it's ready, is it?
We're gonna have a look at it. I think it's still a little bit underdone, but always at home it's a little bit. So underneath is where we struggle a touch at home. So we're just gonna leave it just a little bit in the oven a little bit longer.
Okay.
See if we can get a little more color on the bottom because it was under.
So I have one more question too, that from the team. One of the team, your kits come in, I know we can buy things individually, but as a kit, it comes with such great value. Not only all the toppings and the sauce and the cheese and everything that you need, but 2 of the dough.
Yeah, I think everyone at home, it's good
but
for
one of our team,
couple.
But one of our team members was an individual. And so her question was, can you freeze the dough?
You can freeze it.
You can't.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you defrost it, because I know one of the important ingredients, well, components to being successful is to have the dough at room temperature when you start handling it, right? Versus cold, cold. So you would take it out, and how long does it take to defrost? Do you know?
I would defrost it probably overnight in the fridge.
Okay.
And then once it's defrosted, move forward from those steps and bring it out before you think. So we leave our dough out for as long as possible before we make a pizza. So
Perfect.
that was also trial and error, just like it would be at home though too. So depending on the house, every day is different, humidity, temperature. It's just sort of getting to know it. But again, there's nothing wrong with if it's too cold, it's just going to be harder to stretch and take a little bit longer to cook in the oven. But ideally thawing overnight, letting it double in size on the counter like most recipes say for all those things, and then working forward with it there at that room temperature to make it as easy to handle as possible.
Okay. Thanks, chef. Here it comes.
We're going to stop it right there, I think. So I think it's cooked enough. The bottom is there. And we have a great pizza.
Oh my gosh, that looks delicious.
One thing that we like to do as well is we like to throw a little something underneath it so that the heat from the pizza doesn't steam and get it soggy. So we're letting it try and breathe a little bit. If you have a cooling, we're tight for space in this little kitchen here, but if you have a cooling rack at home, to put the pizza right on a cooling rack for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes to let it set and rest. You can already see the toppings will rest a little bit, the cheese will rest a little bit, the dough rests a little bit. It's always a really good idea to do that as well too. So we're going to speed things up a bit, and then we like a couple things that we personally like to do is we finish it with a nice high quality extra virgin olive oil on the crust.
Oh, we didn't do that. Thanks for that insight.
We also like to finish it with a little bit of Maldon salt as well.
Which kind of salt? Sorry, chef.
Maldon.
Maldon. Okay.
Any kind of finishing salt is great. I went through all my phases of salt. I'm on my Maldon phase right now, which I think is the best and the purest. So we just hit the crust with a little bit of salt. And then we like to hit the pizza on top with some Padano as well. So we use Grana Padano.
Delicious.
And Reggiano is fine. Any of those two is fine. I prefer Padano myself, but most people think I'm crazy. I like to eat Reggiano with honey on a cheese board, and I like a couple cracks of fresh peppers. That's it.
That's perfect. Look at that. Thank you so much, chef. This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm going to remind our members that they have the opportunity to enjoy this very same pizza in their house. Maybe not quite to the same skill level as you have, but they can get them as a Boom member. They can order these do-it-yourself kits you've heard us talking about from Posto through the Bonterra site or through Posto, and they are 20% off for pickup. So just a reminder on that. Chef, thank you so very much for taking the time on such a warm day to show us all your tips and tricks to make an amazing pizza. We're looking forward to enjoying another one very soon, hopefully maybe even on the patio. So thank you, chef, and have an amazing day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.